Let's just pass this thing back and forth this time. Is that all right?
Yeah.
Or we can just put it right here. All right, we're going to close out our time just with a time of question and answer, Q&A kind of thing. PJ, for myself. And it can take however long we need to. It could just be a few questions and we'll close the day and head on out. But what questions do you have regarding any kind of stuff that he talked about? Any questions for him in particular? If I can answer a question, I'll try and we'll go that route. So, what questions do you have?
Let's start with how I've offended people. That would be everybody's waiting.
It was a lot different than I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be, like, honestly, if someone came to me and said, well, I want to disciple you, I would kind of be like, you know, and I could never see myself going to someone and saying that, like, and being very, let's meet every Tuesday morning at 9 o'clock, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But the way you explain it is more of a very organic, get to know people and just kind of like let it happen, you know,
Yeah.
let God lead, but get to know them and pour into their lives, which is something we kind of already do.
Mm-hmm.
So it's, you know, very.
That's good feedback. I love hearing that.
Yeah, I want to echo what she said, and the word in conjunction with what she said, inclusive comes to mind for me.
Mm-hmm.
Inclusive of all of us and everyone in our connect groups and everything in this process.
Yeah. So, go ahead. Go ahead.
I think that the biggest difference between discipleship, us purposely doing discipleship, and just making friends is that intentionality of, like you said, of yes, I'm going to be your friend, and yes, I want to get to know you and all of that, but it goes a step further than that, and I'm intentionally pushing to go to that step further. I think that's the biggest difference between discipleship and just being friends and having
Being friendly, yeah.
relationships.
Yeah, and I appreciate how all of y'all are saying it because it's really helpful to. It's really helpful too. It's helpful for me as a trainer, right? Because my goal is to not be stuffy, and so to hear the processing help. So if you're thinking like, should I say this? It's really helpful for me. So if it was really bad, you're going to spare somebody else. All right. So it's helpful to hear that, but it is. I love what you said because most people will never say what you just said, and that's why I want to go back to it. What she said is, I'll paraphrase, or unless you want to say it.
I just said that if someone came to me and said, I want to disciple you, I would be like, that's weird. You know? Like, I mean, I would think it would be weird, and I could never see myself going to someone and saying, I want to disciple you. That just seems very weird to me. But getting to know someone and building a relationship with them and then pouring into their lives as we are friends, and it's just very much more organic than what I thought. I thought we were going to lay out a plan on how to go to someone and say, I want to disciple you. I don't come on board for this.
Yeah, and I'll say, I think it feels condescending when you ask somebody that way. Like, let me disciple you comes off condescending.
And you're not, so let's do it right.
And the word disciple is not always well received to somebody who's not in church, by the way, because it sounds like a cult. I feel like we know each other enough that I can say that word now. But if I started there, you'd be like, what? Right? But like now that you've heard kind of the back, they do. That's how lost people see it. They're like, what is going on over there? And but that's why it has to be a friendship, and it's two ways. So I really appreciate that feedback. Yeah.
So I would like to see this. I mean, I think we do a pretty good job, but maybe more intentionality as far as giving people the opportunity to become friends, to get to know other people, become friends. Because we have a lot of new people coming into the church.
Yeah.
And, you know, after being in church and then having a husband on staff for so long, part of my fear for a lot of people is they come into church and they have this intense experience with Jesus and then nothing. You know, they don't know where to go, they don't know what to do, they don't know, you know, how to navigate all that, and just maybe more opportunities, you know, to,
Connecting, yeah.
yeah, just to connect with people in some form or fashion.
We had a discipleship team that met a couple years ago now, and we developed what we call our pathway, and honestly, I think you constantly have to be working on something like that. But we even strayed away from the word discipleship because it has some baggage, you know. Mostly people don't understand it. People don't understand what it means. So we opted for Christ-likeness, a pathway of Christ-likeness, because ultimately we all need to become more like Christ, you know. So, and that is an organic thing, right? So I'm a discipleship guy. I'm passionate about it. Certainly see the importance of it, especially with what you're talking about. As people are coming in, we just don't want to leave them to themselves because you'll lose them. They'll go straight out the back door as well. So you have to have something. But you know, a lot of times it is more organic, or it needs to be more organic. I was talking with Kathy. Hopefully, you don't mind if I mention this. She was talking about, you know, I've been investing in this young lady, and you know, I've been wanting to disciple somebody, and it seems like this might be somebody I can begin to do that. And it's like, yeah, most of the times that I have asked God, who do you want me to disciple? The Lord just brought somebody in my life. I'm meeting with a guy at 8 o'clock on Sunday mornings for I don't know how long. And that's who I'm discipling right now. He didn't know it. I didn't tell him that. He asked me to meet with me, you know. But I'm discipling him, you know. I mean, I'm going to build a relationship. I'm going to get to know him, but I'm also going to speak truth into his life. Yeah, but like it's a little more formal because we are going to meet once a week. But I didn't tell him I'm going to disciple him, you know, but I am. So, and I think a lot of times because we're like, oh, well, we got to have this program, we got this pathway and all these kind of things. And those are important. You need that structure. You need that intentionality. We also get kind of lost in it if we're not careful. And a lot of times it's just, hey, here's somebody that needs some help. Can I help them? You know, and that's discipleship. That's doing what we're talking about here. So I don't think it has to be super structured always. But then at the same time, there's ideas and thoughts and all kinds of stuff rattling around in my head to provide opportunities for groups to form and that kind of thing too, which we have to do that as well. So, but we are, you know, constantly trying to get people connected with other people. You know, and there are various things that we do, and that's why we do them. And we're always up for new ideas as well, because I do not believe that I have it figured out. So completely. So got some ideas, but yeah, figuring it out completely, I'm not sure. So, that's helpful. What other
Sometimes you can
questions?
disciple people along the way with, you know, you don't have to be sitting down and doing a study or anything with them. But like somebody asked me not too long ago, no, they didn't ask me, I asked them. I said, did y'all sign up for our guest who's coming to dinner? She said, no, I don't even know what that is. So I told her. And she said, oh, we'll sign up for that. Because I said, that's the greatest way, like what Kathy was saying, to get to know people on a whole different level, the church. And when you were just talking, I thought, well, that's a form of discipleship, because you put her with other Christians, she and her husband, and they'll know, you know, they'll know other people who they've been, I love the people they're friends with. But, you know, that's just another way to let people.
Yeah, well,
you know who you're
we don't do guess who's coming to dinner just for the fun of it. I mean, it is meant to be an inroad to relationship and family and connection.
2 more families in one of ours in our Sunday school class. So.
Yeah, yeah. So,
In
and
the old days, that was called fellowship.
yeah, yes, yeah.
Care groups that did
Uh-huh.
fellowships.
Yeah.
But that led to community in the church, and I think that's something, you know, especially huge churches don't do. Not that you're that, but, I
Yeah, the
think
bigger
that's-
you get, the smaller you have to be, and it's intentionality, right?
Yeah, and I think that's, so, I mean, you know, I did church recreation back when that was a thing. But that was the whole point of that, was to, you know, when you're talking about that, you know, I said, oh, well, I did that 20 years ago.
Exactly.
We called it something else, but, I think those are the things that we need to do, and we need people to say, you should come to this.
Mhm.
That's where that's the downfall.
Yeah.
We have it, but we don't have people encouraging other people to participate. It's just, if y'all can remember, after COVID, and we had the picnic at our house, it was like 200 people there, because we were so starved to see people. But, you know, it'd be great if we had that kind of attitude, we're starved to be around people. You just talk about the loneliness, and then, of course, I miss most stuff. But I see it in kids all the time, and I'm not joking when I held my phone up. That's one of the huge problems. I'll guarantee, I'm not a psychiatrist, but I'm pretty
It's a
sure.
big problem among teens that leads to suicide.
Yep. And, you know, and I don't want to sound old, but video games, I would say, is at the root of a lot of the shootings that happen now. Because they're desensitized to going boom,
That's right.
boom, boom.
It's alternate, right, from reality. And that's why, like, online groups will work, but not forever. Oh my gosh, this is.
It was awful trying to do on FaceTime.
Yeah, it worked till it didn't, and because everybody knows the real thing. That's why I use the word authentic or genuine or real, whatever your word is, because if you the online is not, like, your brain's sensory, like, receptors know that it's not real. Even in virtual reality, that's why you get dizzy when you get off of a virtual reality simulator, and so, like, all those things, because your brain's like, this isn't normal, like something is wrong, and we're not going to overcome that because we know that in person wins, at the end of the day. So
I would really, I don't know if this church is big enough, but I would love to see us stop looking at the church as a religious organization, because I don't think that's what the underlying Greek word meant. It was a government word, and if you look at context, my opinion is that he was talking about kingdom. And we know that the Old Testament was the pattern. And in synagogues, that was where all their life was. I wish we had something social going on here in this building every day of the week, so that you could just drop by, come in, see what was going on, and join in and participate. I mean, the town has the senior citizen center, but I think they play bingo, which would be a great thing too, but I don't know what else they do, and I wasn't really, that didn't appeal to me, but, 'cause I never went.
yeah, so, like, but being the center of the community, so here's why that's harder than it used to be, right? So 60, 70 years ago, you didn't drive to those things. Everything was local. And so when you were in Sunday school class, it was with people that lived on your street.
Yeah.
And so we just don't live that way anymore. And so there are, the principles of what you're saying can still exist, and they look different. It may be this, in a town like this, sometimes it is the building, because this is where people gather, right? And so how do we do those things, and, different ministries. But you're not wrong but it just looks so different now than it used to.
Yeah.
And when we were in,
What's that?
farming communities, 100 years ago, we had tree stump preachers that went around, and you went to church once a month. They didn't have church every Sunday. They didn't have Sunday school, because they were cropping, right? Like, they had to be out in the fields every day. They had to be doing something. And so it was harder. And then when you got somebody who could be supported, then they started doing every week. And so this has always looked different. And but the community aspect, I think loneliness is totally tied to that, because we're so disconnected from who our neighbors are. It's hard.
Well, and it was refreshing to come here as pastor when I had spent 9 years at a church where the people didn't even go to the same grocery store or the elementary school. I mean, we had in our kids ministry and our youth ministry, we had 6 to 8 different schools in each that our kids that came to church went to. So they go to school together. They didn't go to the same grocery stores because they lived 30 minutes each way, an hour from each other. So coming here, it was like, oh, this is nice. People actually like go to the same grocery stores and the same schools. So thankfully, like what you're talking about, it is different based on areas that you're in. So, but also since then, COVID has happened. There's a lot of things have fought against community, and certainly trying to rebuild that any way we can, I think is a good thing. So.
Well, and I think we also can look at the aspect that Satan doesn't want community.
Oh, absolutely.
He doesn't want, and so he's going to throw everything he can. Kids play sports, and they play sports on Wednesdays and Sundays now, when they used to not do that. So we may have to, think about doing connect groups a Saturday night, or I just think we have to get beyond what doing it because we've always done it that way.
Yeah, absolutely.
And worship services are part of that. So the churches that do Thursday night church do it for the reason you just listed. They don't do it just to be cool. They really do it because they're reaching a totally different people group that work on Sunday or gone on the weekends, and they come on Thursday night. But there's been versions of that over the year, right? Friday night, Saturday night. But like that's why you have to keep trying. And so Thursday night seems to work for the people it works for. But it may not be this town's answer. But it may be, right? Because nobody else is doing it, I'm sure.
Well, I think if we just have the mindset of if it works, do it.
Thursday night, yep.
If it works, then we'll do that. Kind of like
Yeah.
a parent that say, if it works, parent that way.
Yeah.
If that works for your kid, then do that.
Well, that's what I like about this is it's not there's not a one size fits all kind of thing. Used to, there really wasn't, but there was.
That's what they saw.
And so then churches would feel like pastors and stuff would try things they learned at conferences or what have you, and it didn't work. And it's like, they would get super discouraged. Well, they said it would work. That worked at their church, Part of it is you just got to figure out who you are and be authentically who you are. And then talking about, really discipleship is spiritual warfare. I mean, it's us combating the enemy and doing that, of course, together. So.
How much impact does a church have by just opening? I know here, our sanctuary is used for things because it's a huge auditorium and we don't have, our schools don't have an auditorium.
Sure.
So how much impact do we actually have on the community by opening up and allowing, the high school chorus to use our sanctuary? How much impact does
Yeah.
that make on our community?
I'll just say people don't come by osmosis. So my pushback to those arguments are just because you're next to a middle school doesn't mean they're coming. Y'all are literally next to an elementary school, right? Isn't that what's over there? And so just because of osmosis, they're not walking in the door. So the same thing's true when they come for chorus or whatever. They're just like, oh, it's a building. What makes it relational is how many volunteers showed up with shirts on that says, we're glad you're here and you belong here. That's when a building is actually, but that's hard to do. I'm not saying it's easy, it's hard to do. But when you mobilize your people for those events, it becomes the next step. Because they came in and their marriage is broken, their bank account's empty, and somebody was nice to them at their church at the chorus practice. That's when they come to church on Sunday. But just because they came in the doors, I don't think that checks the box, personally.
And we've never, I don't know if we've looked at it that way. We've just let people use the sanctuary.
Well, it's hard. Like, I know why we don't do it. I served on church for 15 years. It's just like everybody has a job. And volunteers are hard to come by in the middle of the day. And it's one more thing. But if it's on your calendar to be there, it is different, right? But like even the wearing the T-shirts and the name tags and like the intentionality, not just being there, is a huge part of it. So it just takes aiming at it. But it is hard. Do you use your building a lot for stuff?
Yeah, I mean, I had an email, we're hosting the baccalaureate, so this week, they're already planning on that, so.
We use this room a lot.
Yeah.
Schools, I mean, I've
A
been
lot
there
of
so
schools
long.
will use this,
They
yeah.
call and say, hey, can we do our?
They got a place we can meet. Yeah.
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 So, yeah, we.
Which
and-
builds a good, we have a great relationship with the school.
Sure.
Yeah, sure. And my answer is always, hey, can we use that? Yes. So yes, we do, but taking it to the next step of intentionality
And that's something we wanna start thinking about.
has been challenging because there have been times where we will host something and for one, it's just like, oh, that thing's happening. But then it's like, oh, we should have X, Y, and Z volunteers and it's like,
Yeah.
who could come,
So
but-
like a process answer to what you're saying would be like a group adopts an event. Don't expect the same people to show up to every event. It won't happen. That's not logistic. But if I know the young adults class, like the one you're starting, is going to be over being at the baccalaureate thing, then you already have a built-in community of people that want to be there for that, and then they come do it. But they're not going to do every event. So that's where you have to build like systems and processes to reinforce it.
And there may be people, we talked at one point about finding people's, what their strength is or what their gift is or whatever you want to call it. And there may be people who, they just like standing at a door and greeting people. They just like doing that. And it may be that if we're going to have events here that, you say, hey, we would love to have somebody represent the church. Here's a t-shirt. All you got to do is just stand at a door, greet people, make sure nothing blows up or the lights don't go out. Here's who to call if that happens. That might be, there might be a niche of people who think, oh, I can't teach, I don't like working with kids.
Yeah, but
don't
I can do
get up
that.
in front of people, but I can stand at a door and say, welcome to our church, we're glad we were able to do this for you.
Show them where the restrooms are.
Yeah, show them where the restrooms are.
That probably is the thing here. Yeah.
And I like the way from, having been here before and then coming back now, how much First is involved in the community. Like when there's a community event, First is there. And that, that's there again, it's part of the marketing of knowing you're available and meeting, having people who are handing out water at the Honeybee Festival and greeting people and getting to know them, maybe learn a little bit about their story that day and see them again, at the grocery store or whatever, and then connect again. And that's something I think is really great that is going on here.
Same here, coming back and seeing the change here. I
That's
agree.
cool.
Yeah, and there's always more opportunity, I'm sure, so. But like I said, usually my answer is yes, and then I'll figure it out.
So,
It's like, I see the value of that. I think it's important. I would love for us to be the go-to, and honestly, I think our community would like to see us be that way as well, I remember when we first went through the visioning process and we moved away from saying First Baptist or FBC a lot because there was a negative connotation to that in our community. And so we started saying Lafayette First Baptist or Lafayette First intentionally. And it was before really the church even had time to grapple with it that we kind of said, hey, we're going to, go this route. And I remember somebody from the school, I don't know who it was, I can't remember who it was, someone said, hey, now that you guys are thinking about the community before yourselves, can we do this? And I'm talking,
Did somebody really say that?
give me a Bible. I'm the Bible, yes. And I thought, well,
Speak truth and you're going, wow, okay.
I said, well,
Golly.
there you go. We hit on a nerve, and we're doing the right thing, So, and my answer was, yes, we will do that, So, there's no way you can say no at that moment, right? So,
Thinking about the community.
yes.
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
There's no way. But they literally said, like, now that you're thinking about the community, all we did was just start saying Lafayette first. And,
Yeah,
but
There's
it
no
communicated.
way You can take Lafayette First, you can take it as, they're talking about Lafayette First Baptist Church, or they're also talking about, we're putting Lafayette first.
And that was intentional, and that's how they heard it, yeah, so,
That's what you did back when you came here, though.
Yes.
That's one of the big things that changed.
Yeah.
And I think it changed for the good.
Yeah.
Yes.
So,
Absolutely.
Yeah, Ringold did the same thing.
oh, did they?
Yeah,
Go first?
did the same
Mhm.
thing. Ringold had the same results by doing the same thing.
Yeah, I mean, and it was funny because I'm on the phone with this person. I was like, I'm not even sure the majority of the church understands what we've done yet, you know. But this person does, just by us.
But me
Just changing
tying
language,
in
yeah.
To past and present,
Mhm.
it's a big difference.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a really big difference.
So, and that, you know, I mean, it's not the end all be all. There's more to it than just that. But I thought that it was a pretty good win. You know, it's like, okay, we did the right thing. You know, this is a good. But unfortunately, I mean, here we are. That was probably year 2, and here we are. I'm just celebrated 7. So, you know, my 5 years from there, and this community still sees this church primarily as inward thinking. I'm afraid. So, but it's getting better. I'm just saying, a bulk of the community does.
Within that 7 years, just, we had a pandemic.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true.
Stupid COVID.
Yes.
Came along and hit.
Well, and
Stupid COVID.
we've combated a lot of that, but it was just more ground to take. That's all I'm saying. So we can't just feel like, oh, we did that thing and we're good. We do need to continue to find opportunities. You know, one of the things we do quite often is we host funerals that aren't related necessarily to our church, and that's
Yeah.
just because there, you know, was a 16-year-old who died in a tragic car wreck, and we were able to host that. And it's always kind of like after the fact, and it's like, oh shoot, should have had people here to greet. You know, not necessarily in a T-shirt since it's a funeral, but
Yeah.
you know, name tags, showing where the bathrooms are, and that kind of thing. So
But funerals are a point of intersection where if you care for them, they'll come back.
yeah.
So,
So just finding that intentionality, and you know, we were able to care for them in the way we did, but could you take it up a notch?
yeah.
Yeah, and there are certainly opportunities for that.
That's really kind of how we met you, was through Uncle Bud's passing and my others.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And then I was telling your wife earlier, you remembered our name.
Mhm.
From when the first time we met you, you remembered our name. And I was like, wow, okay. I don't think that would have happened.
Mm.
That's great.
I remember your name.
I remember the lodge too.
And I was thinking about discipling you, but I'm not.
Oh my gosh.
Kathy was about pushed him out of the chair.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will say, I'm thankful the Lord has given me some kind of memory. I don't know how the Lord did that, but as I get older, it's harder. I have to think about it a lot more where it used to come like that. So. But I see the value in it too, so I certainly try to remember.
Well, we probably need to take some of the stuff that we've learned and share it in our connect groups tomorrow, you know, about.
Yeah. Well, even like you're talking about Guess
especially the
Who,
loneliness.
like even something as simple as Guess Who, by telling whoever you told,
Yeah.
you're discipling them. And we need, like, Roger and I can't do it all. I mean, we just can't. We can't disciple everybody, but we can't even be the pusher of whatever thing we're doing. It's going to take other people helping spread the word and catching on. Like, oh, they're doing that, and we did that one time, and it was super cool. Y'all, hey, come and be with us. You know, come. And that's why I've said several times with Guess Who, it's like, if you're inviting somebody, they get to go to that house. That's the only people that's going to know where they're going, but they're going to know because you're inviting them. You know, so I think building that culture. One of the things you talked about culture, and it just takes time. Culture takes time, but culture is who you are when you don't think about it. It's just who you are, and this church has a culture, and there's a culture we're trying to build, and we're somewhere in between. And so we got to get to that point where we are doing these things that he's talking about, and that's just who we are. And we are, we got to get to that point where it's just, we don't even have to think about it. We just know that's what the culture is. It's this disciple building culture, this disciple making culture. So, and that takes time. It's not an overnight thing. Was that?
Takes a lot of practice.
Yeah.
It's kind of like our basketball coach used to say, if you got to think about what you're going to do when you get the ball.
Yeah, too
You're
late.
not ready. Yeah.
too late.
You gotta already
So
know.
I sent the presentation so you can send them out to y'all, and so you'll have 3 PDFs that are way too long, but you can skim and cut and paste and whatever you want to do with them. And so I think sharing is another step. The other thing is, like, I already work for y'all and I'm already on your staff. So the best way to describe me is the staff member that nobody ever called. And so I genuinely love doing this. This doesn't have to be, I'm not just a one-off speaker. Like, I'm here for y'all's win, and Derek knows that too. And so we at the Mission Board appreciate y'all supporting us, and just know that you're supported back. And that's part of how this cooperative program works. So this probably won't be the last time we hang out. So
I think today's been real good.
that's good.
We've been happy to have you back.
Oh, thanks.
And we mean that. We're
I
just saying.
I know. Yeah, you mean it.
Being Southern, we're not just saying.
Not just a Southern offense. Yeah, no, I hear you.
No, it's real. Nobody said it.
That's right. Nobody did yet. Well, y'all can pray for me. My next, I'm driving 5 hours from here to get to a dinner with the pastor in Tifton. So you can pray for that. That's the kind of life I live. So yeah. I don't think you're gonna make it. Yeah, I'm having the same thought, but he'll be fine. It's about 5 hours. So, but y'all can pray for that. But I will. I genuinely feel welcomed here, and thank y'all. Like, I don't say that just to everybody. So thank you.
Pray to close, and then also just so that we'll just pray, because I think hopefully the weather's gone, but you don't have to drive through the weather. We'll pray for.
Yeah, but there's still Atlanta, you know.
Yes,
so,
that's
yeah.
true. Yeah. Lord, thank you for PJ and Georgia Baptist Mission Board and all they do and all they can do. So thank you for that blessing, Lord. Thank you for today. Pray you bless each of us as we go home, and I pray you just be with PJ as he travels to Tifton. And we'll pray this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Thank y'all. Go get your nap.
A nap would be nice.
Nap, Saturday nap.
Can I say one thing too? You asked me about
Yeah.
that vision thing.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Vision thing.
Yeah.
And that.
Okay.
So do you